Has the Alliance of the Sahel States become too important for West Africa to ignore? Every major political shift begins with a moment that most people overlook. For me, that moment was a Nigerian aircraft incident. Many observers thought or believed it would expose division within the Alliance of the Sahel State. Some expected Burkina Faso to distance itself. Others predict the alliance would begin to crack under pressure. But it didn't. The alliance stood together. That was the moment I stopped asking whether the alliance was or would survive. Instead, I started asking a different question. What if everyone was looking in the wrong direction? What if, while the world was waiting for the Alliance of the Sahels to weaken, something very important was beginning to happen? Before we continue, if you enjoy well-researched documentary on Africa, geopolitics, and global affairs, take a moment to subscribe to West Best Media. Every subscription helps this channel to grow and allow us to keep producing documentaries like this one. Now let's follow the evidence. The first clue came from Togo. If the strategy was to isolate the AES or the Alliance of the Sahel States, then Togo was moving in a different direction. The port of Lomé became increasingly important gateway for the Sahel states, especially Burkina Faso, providing access to international market at times when reliable trade routes had become more importantly than ever before. That wasn't a military decision. It was an economic one. If the alliance was becoming isolated, why was Togo helping to connect it to the world? Then another country caught my attention, and that was Benin. Relationship with Benin and the AES, particularly Niger, had become increasingly strained. Many believe that the tension would continue. Instead, a new president took office. President Romualdo Ouagadougou chose a different approach. Within days of assuming office, he traveled to Niger and Burkina Faso, signaling that dialogue, not confrontation, would guide Benin regional policy. Now I had two countries moving in the same direction. Then I came across something I never expected. It wasn't a West African government. It was the United States. Even in the United States had begun re-engaging the AES countries through renewed diplomatic contacts. That made me stop and think. If Washington believed reopening communication was worthwhile, perhaps there was more happening beneath the surface that many people realize. If you're still watching, I'd like to hear from you. At this point in the documentary, do you think these developments are simple, isolated diplomatic event, or do you think they point to something much bigger? Let me know in the comment, and let's continue. The next clue came from Algeria. Relationship with Algeria and Mali had reached one of the lowest points in years. Many assumed those tensions would continue. Instead, a diplomatic contact resumed. Another door had reopened. Then came Nigeria. Nigeria is the regional largest economy, one of its most influential political voice, and a leading member of ECOWAS. During the height of the regional crisis, Nigeria strongly supported ECOWAS position. Today, discussion with Mali have resumed on issues including securities, transportation, and regional cooperation. That doesn't ease the disagreement, but it does suggest diplomacy is replacing confrontation. Then I look beyond West Africa. Morocco. Morocco expanded its engagement with the Sahel states, or the Sahel countries, strengthened economic and strategic cooperation with Mali and its neighbors. Another relationship was evolving. Then I thought about Ghana. Long before many of these recent developments began attracting attention, President John Mahama consistently argued that dialogue was more productive than confrontation. Looking back, those statements seem to fit a much larger pattern. Now, let's take a step backward. Togo, Benin, the United States, Algeria, Nigeria, Morocco, Ghana, different governments, different interests, and different political systems. Yet each in its own way has chosen to engage over permanent isolation. None of these developments by themselves prove that the political landscape of West Africa has fundamentally changed. But together, they raise a question that deserves serious consideration. Perhaps the real question isn't whether West Africa has already begun adapting to the new reality, a reality which is the Alliance of the Sahel State is no longer viewed as a temporary political experiment, but as a permanent regional actor. History doesn't always announce itself with dramatic speeches or historic treaties. Sometimes it's changed quietly. One meeting, one diplomatic visit, one reopening of a conversation, one trade route, one decision at a time. Sometimes history doesn't begin with a battle. Sometimes it begins with former rival decided they cannot no longer ignore each other. Whether this becomes a lasting geopolitical alignment or simply a period of pragmatic diplomacy, only time will tell. But one thing is becoming increasingly difficult is to dismiss the Alliance of the Sahel States is no longer simple reacting to regional politics. It's becoming part of the region political landscape, and that become one of the defining geopolitical stories of our time. If you enjoy this documentary, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to West Best Media, and share this video with someone interested in Africa, geopolitics, and international affairs. Before we leave, I'd like to hear from you, and I'd like to hear your comments. Has West Africa already begun to adapt to a new reality? Or do you believe these diplomatic changes are only temporary? Leave your thoughts in the comment below. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next documentary.